Johnson heads to the bucket. Layup, Johnson, good!
All right, welcome back, everybody, here talking sports with me. Chris Powers. Been out 3 weeks, believe it or not. I don't know if I can do this on my own. Marty, you might have to hold my hand. Lost my voice, and that's only the third time in my life that I lost my voice, and really only the second time I lost it almost altogether. So that was a unique experience. I had sinus infection like crazy. Went to Atlanta to cover the SWAC tournament for Southern, and then was supposed to go to Los Angeles, but some mix-ups here and there. We didn't go, and like Stone Cold Steve Austin says, that's all I got to say about that, because I can get into that big time, but I'm not going to do any of that. But anyway, so with that being said, I'm finally back after a 3-week off time and ready to get into it. We're going to talk Lady Tiger basketball, and that's what we're going to start off with. Impressive victory right now over Florida State last night, 101-71, 30-point win for the Lady Tigers of the Lady Seminoles. The Tigers outscored the Seminoles. What I've noticed, Marty, is crazy, is that in women's college basketball, if a team is going to run away, they do it in the third quarter. And that's exactly what LSU did last night. They outscored Florida State 31-6 last night. 31-6 in the third quarter. And also, they in the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, they only scored 2 points. When LSU started taking their starters out, then they scored a few more points. But other than that, LSU's defense and offense just on fire. 4 players get in the double digits last night. 3 of those 4 players were in 20-plus. Michaela Williams got 28 points. The Bossier City native I love her jump shot. She's got a smooth jump shot. Usually she's good from inside the arc, but not outside. But last night she hit a big three-pointer. But regardless, Michaela Williams looked absolutely unbelievable. Anisha Moreau looked unbelievable last night. She had 26 points. Samaya Smith, who's only had 2 starts this whole season, started last night because of the way Florida State was and the way that, Kim Mulkey looked at that and said, okay, we're gonna use our big player in Samaya Smith. We're going to put her in there. She's only 2 starts, and we're going to put her in there because of the length of Florida State. And then they may have to do that again coming up against North Carolina State. But it was great the way she played. She got 20 points last night. Flo J. Johnson, I was shocked. She only got 13 points. It seemed like her points were bigger. When I looked at the box score, I'm like, she only got 13 points because she was a big factor early in that ball game. She was fist pumping and everything. It was unbelievable. How about this? LSU shot 56% from the field. When a team shoots 56% from the field, unless the other team's shooting at 50-plus, you're not going to win. Bottom line, they shot 56% from the field last night, and their defense held FSU to 36% shooting. It's easy. I mean, you can look at the stats to see who won that ball game. In 2 tournament games, LSU has scored 204 points. It's average of 102 a game. Shooting is 53% from the field. That's pretty good. They're 77, and get this, 145 shots they've had in 2 ball games. 145 shots. Pretty impressive. From downtown, three-pointers, 46%. They didn't shoot a lot of threes last night, though. They're 13 for 28 for the 2 games they played. And they're 76% from the free throw at 37 for 49. Last night, they were 16 out of 17. But here's the deal. If you don't shoot good at free throws in tournament time, chances are you're going to be eliminated pretty easily. So they didn't look – well, they gave Texas a run for their money in the semifinals of the SEC tournament, but they weren't healthy. Flo J. Johnson wasn't there. Flo J. Johnson was not there. Now she's back. All the players are back. They're fully healthy. They're running and gunning. It was nice to see that last night, big time. So with that, I think they can beat North Carolina State and UCLA at this point. If they keep playing like they're playing right now, I didn't think they would go to the Final Four. And they still might. I don't know. But I said they have no shot of going to the Final Four this year, I thought. But for the first time in LSU's history, they had 3 players on the All-SEC team. First time in history in women's basketball. Pretty impressive. So right now, if they keep playing the way they're playing, now they got to go to Spokane, Washington, in Region 1 tournament, in the NCAA tournament. So they go to Spokane. And if they keep playing like they're playing, they're going to play North Carolina State at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN. North Carolina State, the Lady Wolfpack, averaged 79 points per ball game. They beat 15th seeded Vermont 75-55. Number 7 Michigan State, easy 83-49. They're a good-looking team. Isaiah James averages 18.1 points per ball game. We have to watch out for her. The team averages about 77 points per ball game. They shoot about 45% from the field, 33% from downtown, and 68% from the free throw line. 13 of their 18 players, Marty, are over 6 foot tall. Wow. They only got 5 players that are under 6 foot. Okay, they average 5, and the reason I say that is because they average 5 blocks a game. 5 blocks a game. UCLA, watched them a little bit against Southern. They average 84 points per ball game. Lauren Betts is one of the best players in the country. She averages 19.7 points per game. They shoot 79% from the field, 48% from the field, right at 48%. 33s from downtown and 73% from the free throw line. They only led Southern by 12 at halftime in that first round of the tournament that they played against the Southern University Jaguars. And we'll talk about Southern coming up in just a little bit. But overall, I think LSU has a good chance of possibly making the Final Four. Marty, what say you? Jonathan, what say you?
Well, Chris, I think we talked about on this show before that we thought that absolutely LSU had the talent to make a Sweet 16, and here they are, of course, taking care of business against Florida State last night. I was watching college basketball a lot more, obviously, at the start of March. Hadn't really seen much outside of Southern because we worked the games. But you always know basketball is absolutely a game of runs. Can you handle the other team's run and then go on a run of your own? LSU did a great job. It was back and forth the entire first half. LSU goes in with a 1-point lead at halftime and then absolutely explodes. Points in the paint, they dominated. And Samaya Smith, I mean, you mentioned only having 2 starts all season. For Coach Mulkey to go to that player in that situation really has her pulse on the team and showed out 20 points, had a great job. But Michaela Williams, I think the story's all about her. Only missed 2 shots on the night, went 3 for 3 from three-point line, and was really feeding the ball. And Samaya Smith didn't miss a shot. It was all in the paint right around the rims. And that's where you want her to get her shots. So absolutely clicking on all cylinders right now, playing their best basketball at the right time. Nobody's really thinking about that SEC tournament now with that kind of embarrassing way they ended their run there. But now it's on NC State, a very talented basketball team. Obviously, everybody you play at this part of the year is going to be a very good team, and there's no exception with NC State. LSU's going to have to shoot the ball well, have to get their points on fast break, but really the defense is what separated them last night against Florida State in that third quarter. They really shut them down, went on a long run of their own, really got that lead up where they want it to be.
No question about that. Let's take a look at the NCAA Women's Sweet 16. That's now officially set. UCLA, number 1 seed, will play Ole Miss. This is in the Region 1, Spokane. They'll play UCLA versus Ole Miss. That game is going to be at 9 p.m. That'll be on Friday. So check that out. LSU also playing on Friday. They'll play at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN. LSU versus number 2 seeded North Carolina State. And Jonathan noticed that LSU is a big-time marketable or big brand, I should say, because LSU is usually on the big ESPN network. They do what they can to put LSU on that network. I mean, it's a great big brand, I should say.
Absolutely, Chris. And Kim Mulkey, absolutely a rock star. Where those secrets on the sidelines, of course, it has to be talked about every game. She likes the attention and the blame sometimes you put on her and take it away from her team. She's a character, really has her team playing hard. Look, Flaugier and Anissa Morrow, they get a lot of the headlines, and deservedly so. Both of them are superstars. Anissa Morrow, a walking double-double, of course, had to get one with 11 points again last night. Samaya Smith also had a double-double, but Michaela Williams, a true sophomore, I think she's the next true superstar here at LSU. The stroke is just too sweet. She handles the ball very confidently. She doesn't mind being in a phone booth with somebody, can be physical. I thought the officials leaned a certain way in the first half of that game.
Right,
a lot of ticky-tack falls went to the Seminoles, but LSU was able to get past that. And, kudos to Coach Kim Mulkey. Really juggling that roster, trying to manage injuries right at the end of the year, trying to get everybody healthy for their NCAA run, and did a great job. Seems like everybody's healthy and ready to go for the Lady Tigers.
If Smith can play like that, LSU's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I can tell you that. Over in Regional 2, Birmingham, South Carolina and the Lady Gamecocks struggled against number 9 Indiana seed. They struggled. They only had 9 points going into the second quarter of that game, but they came back and won it 64-53, 11-point victory for the Lady Gamecocks. They'll play against the Lady Terps, and, hey, that's going to be hard. Lady Terps are a pretty good basketball team. They're number 4 seeded in that Region 2, and they've been there before. They beat Alabama 111-108 in double overtime. It was a great ball game to see that one. Down to the other bracket to see who goes to the Elite Eight will be number 3 North Carolina against Duke. How about that? Now, the men's side, it's unbelievable. Now, for the women's side, we're going to find out it's not as big, But for the men's side, that game is just incredible. Remember they played in the Superdome in the Final Four a couple of years ago? Now they're going to play in the Sweet 16 women's side. Number 3 seed North Carolina, the Lady Tar Heels, against the number 2 Lady Devils from Duke. Are they the Devilettes or the Lady Devils?
I have no idea.
Exactly. I don't know, because usually they call the women's team Devilettes, which, okay, I wouldn't even be called – I wouldn't want to be called a Devilette. But anyway, so North Carolina versus Duke, the winner of those 2 games will meet in the Elite 8 and the right to go to the Final Four. That one will be in Birmingham, Alabama. Right there. It used to be the JCC deal. I think it's a Legacy Arena now. By the way, that's where the Pelicans play some of their summer games, and they say that place is better than the New Orleans Arena. It's more it's fancy, and it's right there connected to that hotel. It's downtown Birmingham, which is pretty big. How about in the Region 3, Birmingham? It's number 1, Texas, and the Lady Longhorns taking on number 8, Illinois. That's what Texas did to beat Illinois. They're going to play number 5, Tennessee, and I got to say, it was, new coach and what have you. They got off to a slow start at the beginning of the regular season, but now they're starting to click. They're starting to play well. They beat Ohio State 82-67, the final score with that. So with that, it'll be number 1, Texas versus number 5, Tennessee. That will be on Friday at 2:50, or Saturday rather, 2:50 p.m. All right, moving on down, it'll be Notre Dame taking on number 2 TCU. Number 3 seed Notre Dame and the Fighting Irish taking on number 2 TCU with Haley Van Lith. Now she's going crazy now, and she's doing well. She was a Player of the Year in the Big 12, and not only that, she's a big reason why for the first time they're ever in the Sweet 16. And she says she had mental health issues at Louisville and at LSU. She's over it now. She's found God. God bless you. She's found God. They beat Louisville, her old team, 85-70, the final score there. TCU moves on, and they'll play the winner out of Texas and Tennessee for the right to go to the Final Four. And one more bracket, Regional 4 Spokane bracket will be USC, the number 1 team of the nation, versus number 5 Kansas State. They're the number 1 seed in that Regional 4. However, they lost their big player yesterday, and for the year by that means. Number 5 Kansas State is going to be their opponent, and they'll take on the winner out of number 3 Oklahoma and number 2 UConn. UConn's looking pretty good right now, by the way, so that's pretty good there. It's pretty sad to see that when you see one of your best players go down, not only at one place but in the nation. Juju Watkins was going down on the fast break yesterday in the transition basketball. She ruptured her knee. ACL surgery is coming. Her season is over. And she is one of the best players, if not the best player in all of college basketball for the women's side. She's done. How will that affect USC? I don't know how it'll affect USC going in this forward. I think USC might get to the Elite 8, but getting further past that and maybe into the Final Four and into the Final Four, it's going to be difficult to play without her. She is their star player, no question about that. All right, so that's women's basketball. We're going to talk again about Southern coming up here and later on in the show. Coming up next, we're talking men's NCAA. I've been watching more NCAA men's teams than for a long time. I've been watching a lot of this. I'm into it. I'm in the March Madness. I'm getting sick. I'm getting the disease. I'm going to watch a lot this weekend, too. We'll talk about that when we come back as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton & Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton & Fouget today.
The 53rd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Louisiana's largest free harvest festival, is just around the corner. And the fun begins on Friday, April the 11th, with a large midway of rides for the whole family. Plus, live music begins at 3:30 p.m. on not one, but 2 big stages. On Friday, Clay Cormier and the Highway Boys, plus the 3rd Street Band and the Rhythm Chasers, just to name a few. On Saturday, April 12th, the Strawberry Festival Parade starts at 9:30 a.m. and it travels right down East Pine Street in Ponchatoula. Then head to Memorial Park for some of the best booths in Louisiana, from seafood,
funnel cakes, hamburgers, and of course the juiciest strawberries in the world from local farmers. Live music starts at 11:45 a.m. and don't miss former Idol contestant Lindsay Cordelli at 12 noon on the South Stage. The Dominoes start at 5 p.m. and Thomas Kane at 7:30 p.m. On Sunday, April 12th, it's the Egg Toss Contest from 11 a.m. until 12 noon and the Strawberry Eating Contest from 1:30 to 2:45 p.m. Don't miss the 2025 Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Friday, April 11th through Sunday, April 13th at Memorial Park in Ponchatoula, Louisiana. If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
All right, welcome back, everybody, here talking sports with me, Chris Powers, and March Madness is unbelievable. Used to be the biggest betting spectacle in the United States per year. Every year it was number one, or even over the Super Bowl. But since last year's Super Bowl in Las Vegas, the Super Bowl has passed it back up, and then this year the Super Bowl did well. I don't know if it's going to pass this year's Super Bowl up, March Madness, because we're still in the middle of it, but we'll see. The right to go to San Antonio, Texas, and by the way, they say they have the best. They're the best Final Four, place where they can have it. Well, they've only had it. This is their third time. They're counting it 4 times because they had the women's Final Four one time. But for the men's, this will be number 3 for them. The next time, now here's the deal: LSU, New Orleans is up for the 2031 Final Four, and they're competing with Nashville, and I forgot the other city, but they're competing with Nashville. Word is that Nashville may get it because that new dome will be built in 2027, and it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar dome. So I hope that it's not much longer that we get the Final Four. Does it for a while, but since starting this year, they're going to have it in San Antonio, as I mentioned. I think next year's in Indianapolis. They're going to have Indianapolis twice. Indianapolis will now pass. That's where the NCAA home office is. Indianapolis will now pass for the most Final Four. Jonathan, you know what the city with the most Final Fours is?
No, I do not.
Kansas City.
I wouldn't have guessed that either.
No, in 64 was their last Final Four. Kansas City has the most Final Fours with 9. Indianapolis is going to eventually pass it up. They're going to tie it with 9 next year and then pass it up with 10 when they have it in a couple of years. But to me, it should be in New Orleans. The reason why, I was in downtown Atlanta. I went by the College Football Hall of Fame, and they asked me, they said, okay, $38 to get in. I was going in, but they said the 3rd floor is closed off because of something. I'm saying, well, wait a minute. I'm going to pay for 3/4 of a tour, and I'm not going to get the last quarter? No. Okay, well, no, I'm not going to buy in. Went to the also the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, saw how beautiful that was. They had it blocked off, couldn't go in. I checked on the hotel rooms in Atlanta because, next year the Super Bowl's in San Francisco, then Los Angeles, then Atlanta, right? I looked at the hotel rooms. They only have 12,000 hotel rooms in downtown Atlanta. Only 12. Guess how many New Orleans has?
70,000.
27,000.
There you go.
Rooms in downtown New Orleans. And that's in a 4-mile radius. That's why it makes New Orleans one of the best places. They have bars within walking distance, all in that 4-mile radius mark. That's why it makes New Orleans unbelievable for Super Bowl and for Final Fours and what have you. And by the way, Jonathan, this is off the key. We're going to get back to the Final Four. Does New Orleans get an NHL team?
Didn't they already try that, Chris? Haven't we already been down that road?
They tried for that minor league, but word is there's some investors, and the NHL came down to New Orleans and talked to Jay Cicero last week about putting an NHL team in New Orleans.
Yeah, ask the Zephyrs how that 3rd-tier sport comes through in down deep South Louisiana.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about it.
I mean, I don't like hockey, but when I went and seen what was it called, the Kingfish,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. You know what? This might not be bad.
So, I mean, I enjoy watching hockey, Chris. You have to admire these grown men blasting each other
Right.
while doing it on skates on ice. It's got to be the hardest sport to play on
Oh,
any
yeah.
level. There's no doubt. And I don't understand it enough to be, like, really excited
Me
about
neither.
having a new major league team come in. But if it's more revenue to the state, hopefully people will be excited. I don't see it happening, Chris. It's hard enough to get people to go to both Saints and Pelicans games right there next to each other. A lot of extra income already spent on travel youth baseball and all the other sports that are going on. It's a huge sports state in Louisiana, but I don't know many kids that are playing ice hockey. I don't know.
No. Would you go?
I mean, would I play or would I go?
Would you go to the game?
So I went to a brass game one time when I was younger. I did have a lot of fun. It was kind of like a kitschy kind of thing. There was music playing. I got to keep a puck, which I didn't know. I mean, if you're not familiar with hockey, those hockey pucks are like 4 pounds, and they freeze them before the game. I mean, that thing is moving. You understand why people are missing a lot of teeth in the professional leagues.
Yeah.
But, I think it's exciting. Big hits. I sometimes get around to watching the Stanley Cup Finals, especially when there's nothing else going on in the sports world. So I'm intrigued by it. Don't really understand the market, especially in deep South Louisiana. But if it's going to bring money to the state, I'm all for it.
That's it. No question about that. You go see ice skate? I don't know. I guess they play in the Smoothie King Arena. So what's going on right now with the Smoothie King Arena? They are looking. So they did the feasibility study, and obviously, they need improvements and need to get to this level of NBA. However, the problem with that is they're going to see how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
So that's the big problem right now, or they're going to build a new arena.
Right.
And if they're smart, they'll do it in the CBD somewhere. If they build one, maybe near the warehouse district or something like that.
Yeah.
But they need to build something because I don't think they're going to – unlike the Superdome was built bigger than most stadiums, I don't think that you're going to be able to do that with the Smoothie King Arena. You'll be able to build around it.
And, I mean, I'm talking about, the deep south. I mean, Vegas has a hockey team. That's the desert. I mean, I don't know anybody that's growing up playing ice hockey in Vegas. Tampa, exactly. So, and look, the Vegas Knights, I think the second year after their existence, they were in the finals. So, look, it's a sport that I'm not really sure how free agency works. Is there a draft? There's a whole lot that's to go into it for me to understand the ins and outs of an NHL franchise. But, intriguing, Chris, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm like you. I'd love to see it for the city. It'd be great. All right, back to the NCAA Tournament, Sweet 16, March 27th through 28th. Here we go. First in the South region, Auburn versus Michigan. Auburn, the number 1 seed in the South, taking on number 5 Michigan. I got Auburn going to the Final Four, Jonathan. I do. I have them going to the Final Four. I got them beating either Ole Miss or Michigan State. Ole Miss is number 6 seed. Michigan State's number 2 seed. They have 7 teams, SEC teams, in the Sweet 16, which is unbelievable right now. I think Auburn will win that. I think Michigan State will probably end Ole Miss's reign. I think it'll be Auburn and Michigan State, and I think Auburn will go to the Final Four from the South. In the East, the Duke Blue Devils have beaten Baylor really easily, by the way. They're going to play. They're the number 1 seed in the whole tournament, and they're number 1 seed in the East. They'll play number 4 Arizona in the right to go to the Elite 8. And the winner, they'll play on the winner out of number 6 BYU and number 2 Alabama. Alabama could struggle against BYU.
They've been playing good basketball, though, Chris.
Yeah, they are playing good basketball, but they didn't play well in towards the stretch, down the end of the regular season. That's why they went number 1 seed. They are the number 2 seed. They struggled. They started losing some games, and then they lost in the SEC semifinal round. So to Tennessee, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. BYU and Alabama ought to be interesting. I see Duke leaving, though, the East as the player into the Final Four. In the Midwest, number 1 Houston against number 4 Purdue. Houston always blows it every year. Before they get to the Final Four, they either blow it in the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8.
Yep.
Which one they're going to blow it in? We'll find out. Could they go to the Final Four? They look good right now, too. They'll play the number 4 seeded Purdue Boilermakers in that game. The winner of that will take on either number 3 Kentucky or number 2 Tennessee. Got to say, Kentucky, Pope is doing well for his first year at Kentucky. He's doing a good job. Tennessee's playing good basketball. I think Tennessee eventually will win that game. Houston's been up and down. I mean, Kentucky's been up and down all year. I still think, though, I don't know, Jonathan. I don't know. Like I said, Houston really looks good. They only won by 5 points against Gonzaga. Gonzaga's always been a good team. I don't know. I really don't know who's going to come out of this. It could be anybody. It could be Tennessee. I'll say Tennessee comes out of this because Houston usually blows it. Sampson, that's why they let him go at Oklahoma, because he couldn't get to the big dance. He couldn't get that championship. And, in the West, I think Florida is going to beat Maryland, number 4 seed. Florida looks really good. They look like the most complete team right now. They'll play the winner of Texas Tech and Arkansas.
Yep, Coach Cal.
How about Coach Calipari? Another guy's like a Samson, comes out like a big entourage and makes his grand appearance 5 seconds before they announce the starting lineups, and he's won 1 national championship.
Yeah.
But he's brought a lot of teams to the big dance. I mean, in fact, I think he's the leader in that. Anyway, Arkansas will take on Texas Tech. Give me Texas Tech in this for the Red Raiders. Arkansas is number 10. I think their deal comes over. But I look for Florida to advance to the Final Four. And then with that, I think Florida is going to beat Auburn in the Final Four in San Antonio. I think the Duke Blue Devils are going to beat either Tennessee, Kentucky, or they can beat Purdue. So I think it'll be Duke Blue Devils. I got Duke winning the national championship.
Duke in the Natty. Best player in college basketball, flag, so it makes sense.
Yep, and that'll be in San Antonio, Texas, at the Alamo Dome. And I'll tell you this, when I went and did a game in that Alamo Dome for a football game, you talk about loud in that dome. I couldn't hear for a long time, Jonathan. That dome is crazy.
Wow.
It's like the it don't seat many people, but it's like it pipes all the thing in. It's pretty crazy. LSU still spiraling out of control. 3-15 in the SEC, 14-18 overall this season. They said they're going to bring in more NIL money into LSU. Already you got Foster leaving. He's a big New Orleans kid, so he's going to leave. It's Corey Chest is going to leave. He only averaged 6 points a ball game, but he was one of the big recruits from Louisiana, big player with a lot of uptick. So we'll see what happens with that. But John, it just gets me that Texas is not satisfied with what they did. They go out and get a new coach. LSU's really stuck to this guy a long time. Or are they giving him the extra year because of the fact of what state LSU was in after Will Wade?
Oh, man, what a loaded question. Will Wade, geez, and they had to run it for McNeese, too, that just ended. And I think a lot of LSU fans were kind of wanting to bring back Will Wade.
Are you one of them?
No, not really.
Yeah,
I think it needs to be a new page. I think Will Wade left when it was his time. It might have been, possibly not to save the football program, but to help save face for the football program for sure. Not a lack of institutional control. There was a bunch of problems going on at the time. It wasn't just Will Wade. But, look, I think he's doing a great job for McNeese. Maybe he does take that NC State job. I've seen some rumors on the socials about that. But he had his teams playing great, and he was able to recruit to McNeese with a very limited budget. And hopefully McMahon, with more NIL endorsements, sponsorships, can go get some of these Jimmies and Joes that you only play 5 at a time. Right. And you can have a deep bench, and you can say, oh, we're trying to build for the future. But if you can get 2 or 3 studs this year, LSU can turn it around so quick. Basketball is the quickest turnaround sport because you only play 5. You get a true stud, a lottery pick player, and LSU can make a run, no doubt. Now, I'll say this. If Matt McMahon goes 1-8 in league play next year, it's time to pull the Band-Aid off, get it over with, start the rebuild, whatever you want to call it. It's time for some new blood. But hopefully they get some players in the building believing in McMahon's systems. I do believe he's a good coach. The SEC is just so stacked, Chris. Right. You look at the Sweet 16 alone. It's remarkable. Not only baseball, football, and basketball. The SEC is just dominating with talent.
No question about that. And then I think he is. I think it's a done deal that he is going to North Carolina State. And guess who's going with him? The Jambox guy.
Yeah, he signed his own NIL deal.
Yeah, the Jambox guy is going. So McNeese is his alma mater. He said, "The hell with that! I'm going with the money." He said, "I'm going to North Carolina State too, bro." He's gone. So anyway, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's tougher for LSU fans right now with SEC. Like we said, 7 teams in the SEC, but you got Arkansas now in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
And we see that and we go, what?
Yep.
And you got Alabama's been good for 5 years. They've been in the NCAA tournament for 5 years.
Yep.
Never made a Final Four yet. I think they have a chance this year, but they're going to run into Florida, I think, and that's going to be the problem. Auburn has been good for the last 6 to 8 years. They've been good. I mean, everybody said that you don't go hire Bruce Pearl, but guess what?
Hey,
he's turning around Tennessee, and he's doing it now at Auburn.
Bruce Pearl's elite.
Yeah, and then Tennessee has been good for 16 times since 2000 with Bruce Pearl and now with the guy they got in Barnes. I mean, those programs have been just unbelievable in the last few years, Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee. And now with Arkansas having Calipari, they're only going to get better and better.
Yep.
And his friend owns Tyson Chicken How much NIL money you think he's going to get being the Tyson Chicken's a Fortune
That's
500
a
company
lot
there?
of nuggets. Yeah, it's a lot of nuggets.
Exactly. So there's some people that are on social media that's rumbling about Scott Woodward. Come on, don't be stupid. Football, there's rumblings about football, of course. I think football is going to be fine, especially if they go with the 4 SEC teams and the 4 Big Ten teams in the playoffs. LSU will make that almost every year. They should. I think that LSU is good enough to make it. I think Brian Kelly's good to have a steady team there. Now this is his year. I think this is the year for him to be judged this coming year in 2025. Men's basketball obviously is bad, and that's supposed to be your second big producer is men's basketball. Women's basketball has been good since you hired Kim Mulkey. That's been unbelievable. I thought maybe she kind of took a step back this year. Maybe she has. We'll see. But right now, the way they're playing right now, I think they would have beaten Texas and South Carolina.
Yeah.
They're playing that good right now. They're shooting 57% from the field. You shoot 57% from the field, you're going to win most of all of your games. Baseball is obviously doing well. We didn't have a good game. We didn't have a good weekend this week against Texas. We'll talk about that coming up in the next segment. They're still number 8 in most polls. Softball, since Howard's gone, I mean, I hate to put it on one guy, the hitting coach, but now softball has lost only 2 games, one in the SEC. They're dominant right now. They're unbelievable. We'll talk about them coming up, too. And gymnastics, for the first time in history, the number 1 seed. So what people are rumbling about, I know basketball, it's probably basketball fans that are rumbling men's basketball, but other than that, Scott Woodward is still doing a great job, I think, at LSU. He's an unbelievable athletic director who's from Baton Rouge, who went to LSU. So he's a local guy, so he'll get it right. I'd love to see a big name being hired, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of big names out there. I don't think you can get Rick Pitino to leave the East Coast right there. I don't think you can get it to leave the Northeast. I'm going to tell you, I'd love to get a Rick Pitino. I said that a couple of years ago, and everybody said, are you crazy? Rick Pitino turns around every team he goes to, just like that. St. John's, look what he did the first year. Number 2 seed. Could have been the number 1 seed. And they didn't shoot well in that game. Arkansas didn't shoot well in that game. Arkansas versus St. John's. But eventually they won it. But I don't think Scott Woodward is going anywhere for a long time. I think he's an unbelievable athletic director. And he's doing a fantastic job. Jonathan, could you say this could be the best AD at LSU?
Oh, this is the only AD in the last 30 years that I can remember that everybody consensus thought that he was the right hire at the right time. Look, Jay Johnson's the best coach in college baseball. You can take Tony Vitello if you want, but give me Jay Johnson 7 days of the week, twice on Sunday for sure. You bring in Brian Kelly, who was the winningest college football coach in the league. That was when Nick Saban was still coaching. So, yeah, it was a perfect opportunity to get a guy who was very experienced on how to handle the locker room in a time that LSU was in shambles, had 30 scholarship players. You bring in a guy who's a true CEO. He brings in a staff. That staff gets poached away each and every year. He replaced with guys. Bringing in Kyle Williams, a guy that is proven pro from LSU, had a great NFL career. To be the defensive line coach, that's just a perk of being the brand of LSU. You can go get a guy with all this experience that's dying to make his mark at LSU as a coach, because he already did it as a player. Getting to Scott Woodward, the guy is an LSU man through and through. If you're going to find another athletic director out there that cares more about the success of LSU, please show me who that man is and give him all the money in the world, because I don't think he's out there. Scott Woodward's done a fantastic job. You lower Kim Mulkey away, get her back home. She's done fine. Already delivered you a national championship. So is Jay Johnson. That's 2 out of 3 hires he made in one season.
That's right.
Unbelievable job he's done so far in Baton Rouge.
And you'll never have to worry about him going to another school.
Yep.
I mean, he's an LSU guy. He'll stay at LSU big time. It's what I've heard is when he took the job from Texas A&M and he said, I'll take the job if I get no out of interference from out of this office. Which means the board, which means the president, nobody. I make the shots. I make the calls. I've got a boss, of course, but I make the calls here. And I can tell you, as long as I can remember, that hadn't been the case for athletic directors. The board has always made the call, except for the Kingfish days when the governor was Governor Long. He made the calls. But after he had died, the board had made the calls for a long time. That's why Joe Oliva got out of here. He wanted to fire Les Miles a long time ago. Couldn't do it because the board wouldn't let him do it. Yep. And it's been down the case. I heard, that rumor is true because Steve Spurrier has talked about it. He was having dinner with Joe Dean at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And Joe Dean has been told, hey, you got a phone call. He went and took it, and they hired their new coach. Left him right there. And so when I was told is he said, I'm taking the reins. You don't tell me what coach to get or what have you. I'm taking the reins, and that's smart if the board did that because they need to give him the reins. By the way, also another news that I don't know if you saw that, but Les Miles, the state judge, threw out his lawsuit against LSU for vacating those wins and preventing him from getting into the College Football Hall of Fame. So the state judge throws it out. The attorney now does not know if he's going to appeal it or not. But right now, I knew that wasn't going to be. I didn't think he would win it, even if they went to trial. I didn't think he could win it because, again, he knew about that player getting that money from all over the lake. He knew it. So if you knew it and you know what was going on, then no, we don't get the wins back because you were part of the problem too. And if you didn't know, then you didn't have control of your own program. And that's also where the NCAA will get you there as well. All right, when we come back, we're talking college baseball. The LSU Tigers had a tough week this past weekend at Texas. We'll talk about that when we return. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers. Jonathan's in the house, Marty's in the house, and we're right here on Pelican Sports TV.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
The 53rd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Louisiana's largest free harvest festival, is just around the corner. And the fun begins on Friday, April the 11th, with a large midway of rides for the whole family. Plus, live music begins at 3:30 p.m. on not one, but two big stages. On Friday, Clay Cormier and the Highway Boys, plus the 3rd Street Band and the Rhythm Chasers, just to name a few. On Saturday, April 12th, the Strawberry Festival Parade starts at 9:30 a.m. and it travels right down East Pine Street in Ponchatoula. Then head to Memorial Park for some of the best booths in Louisiana, from seafood, funnel cakes, hamburgers, and of course the juiciest strawberries in the world from local farmers. Live music starts at 11:45 a.m. and don't miss former Idol contestant Lindsay Cordelli at 12 noon on the South Stage. The Dominoes start at 5 p.m. and Thomas Kane at 7:30 p.m. On Sunday, April 12th, it's the Egg Toss Contest from 11 a.m. until 12 noon and the Strawberry Eating Contest from 1:30 to 2:45 p.m. Don't miss the 2025 Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Friday, April 11th through Sunday, April 13th at Memorial Park in Ponchatoula, Louisiana.
I was in Ponchatoula this past weekend. I judged a wing eating contest on Saturday. Beautiful weather, by the way. Unbelievable. I never did that. Never judged a wing eating or competition, cook-off competition. I was in the champions table, so I got to do 10 of them. They had 30 teams total, and I ate 10 contestants worth. Very good. They were good. Very tender. Most of the ones I had were better than some restaurants that you get. That's how
not
good they
TJ
were.
Ribs, though. I'll tell you that.
No. Oh yeah, the TJ Ribs are very good. The wings are pretty good there. And by the way, too, they gave me, so my payment, Jonathan, is a half a flat of strawberries. And, strawberries go fast.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So you got to eat them fast, and I did. So I gave half of my flat, of the half a flat, to a good friend of mine who I went and had a beer with over there in Robert, Louisiana. And then I came back home, and like I was telling Marty, my mom always told me I got a big mouth. But she must be meaning something else because it takes you 6 bites to eat one of the strawberries. That's how big them damn things were, man. Unbelievable. And I stopped by and got a local guy. I didn't go to a store. Stop by and got a local farmer's strawberries, and that's what you do. And as we get closer and closer to that, April 11th through 13th, what you do is there's two ways you can get in. 55 going south towards New Orleans, and you get off the Ponchatoula exit, it's crazy. It's backed up like crazy. What you want to do is you want to go straight down I-12, and you get to the airport exit. That's past the hospital and the mall exit to your left. You want to keep going. You get off of the airport exit, go that way, and that's a better way to get in. Plus, you park closer to the festival grounds. Jonathan, for you, if you're like coming from New Orleans, you come on and you get off of the Ponchatoula exit instead of making that curve and going to Hammond, and you go up one of the side streets with that, get right next to the railroad tracks, and you make a right and go there, or you can go straight even too. That's where the fairgrounds are in that area. It's great. It's again April 11th through 13th, the Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, the 53rd. Pretty impressive. All right, LSU baseball struggled this past weekend at Texas. They won the first game, and then the second game and the third game was pretty rough to do, rough to see. They've fallen in the D1 poll to number 8. Baseball America has them at number 5. USA Today Coaches Poll has them at number 6. And the ESPN poll has them at number 8. I think Kate Anderson really looks like a good Friday starter, but the bullpen right now, and Jonathan, this is something that you and I thought would be big this year, but the bullpen is struggling a little bit right now. Zach Cohen and Kason Evans looks good, but the rest of the guys are struggling a little bit. Jay Johnson was moving them in and out all 3 games of that game.
Yeah, and Chris, it's such a small sample size. The year is still so young, and SEC just getting started. Texas is going to be right at the end. They're going to championship caliber team, playing on the road for your first real road test. This team's been playing very well. The bullpen's been a strong suit, as we talked about on this show. And look, everybody has bad weekends. You can't locate your secondary pitch. And SEC players, it doesn't matter how hard you throw, even if it's 98 miles an hour, they will time you up the second time. These guys are almost professional hitters. That's what they do for a living right now. They go to school and they hit the baseball. It doesn't matter if you have a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. If you can't locate that secondary pitch for a strike, that's a lot of problems the bullpen was having. Still waiting to see Gavin Guidry might rotate, tinker with their starting rotation, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday guys. Kate Anderson, though, absolute stud. It's a shame that LSU did drop the Saturday and Sunday games because Friday they looked so dominant. I mean, everybody was talking about how good LSU looked in that Friday game. Actually, dog-walked Texas, put pressure on them every single inning, had the leadoff man on base, 6 out of 9 innings. We really dominated that game in strong fashion. But look, it's baseball. You can lose any time. You make a couple errors in the field, and all of a sudden it's a 4-run game. You never really build back out of that, especially when you're facing a team that's trying to compete at home with a fan base and a pedigree like Texas. Look, Texas is perennially a very good team this year, first year in the SEC. So they're trying to make a name for themselves, trying to make noise, and how better to do it than against LSU, a team that's looking to make some noise in Omaha. It's going to be fine. Jay Johnson, Nate Yeski, they're going to handle that bullpen just how they need to. Waiting to see kind of where William Schmidt, that true freshman from Catholic High, is going to fit in. He has to work on his control, but his stuff is so electric. If he just settled down a little bit, I think he'll have no problem finding a spot in the rotation. Not worried about LSU at all. They weren't going to win every series, and it's time to get back on pace with Jay Johnson. Yeah, it's only the second SEC series of the year, and not only that, it's just Texas put the ball at the right spot everywhere they went. Yep.
I mean, they put it right there between the second and first baseman in the right field, in the shortstop, between shortstop and third, right up the middle. I mean, they're placing that ball like they were hitting a golf ball and knew where they were. The pitching after 25 games is still with a 3.74 ERA. That's still not bad at all. Jared Jones leads in batting at .420 batting average. Are you shocked they moved him to third base on Sunday? Well, he's got a hell of an arm, don't he?
Yeah, the great arm. He actually recruited as a catcher out of Marietta, Georgia, to come to LSU. Obviously, never really played catcher. Needed him at first base. Needed the bat in the lineup, most importantly. But, yeah, it's okay. You play the corners mostly times in high school. A guy plays first, you can also play third or vice versa. So not really shocked by him moving to third. Really have to cover very limited ground at third base, which is why you can hide the bigger guys there. You don't have to have much mobility. Just dive to the line or dive to the hole. With Milam at short, I think you can hide a lot at third base. And really, if you get another bat, look, Kate Embry, I I said that wrong. Sorry. That's a kid from Southern. Aaron Beatty, excuse me, that's Aaron Beatty, the catcher. Struggle with pass ball. So if you can keep his bat in the lineup, find a new spot for him to play in the infield, maybe first base, maybe outfield, tinker with that lineup a little bit because they have some major bats in that lineup where they're not going to struggle to score runs in many games.
No. They left 25 runners on base this weekend and struck out 30 times this weekend. So that's definitely not going to – like you said, I'm not panicking either. They'll play Mississippi State this next weekend, this coming weekend here. Mississippi State's 1-5. So they won the national championship. They have not been relevant at all. It's going to be here in Baton Rouge. That's going to be good. After that, they go to Oklahoma, the number 9th team in the nation right now at Oklahoma, and that's going to be interesting to see that. That'll be a good series there. Between that, which tonight they play UL Lafayette. How about this? LSU baseball plays UL Lafayette tonight here at Alec Box Stadium, and softball plays UL Lafayette at Ragin' Cajun Field over in Lafayette. And then next week they'll play Louisiana Tech as their midweek game. By the way, speaking of Oklahoma, this is breaking news now. Obviously, as this tape goes on throughout the week, it won't be breaking news. But as we're taping this right now, Aliyah Chavez has picked Oklahoma. She's the number 1 player in the nation in women's basketball. And by the way, they said she's another Caitlin Clark. Watch her. She's unbelievable. She spends so much time in the gym hitting jump shots. She's from Texas. That's kind of a shocker. She had three teams she wanted to go to, her home state of Texas and Austin, obviously South Carolina and Oklahoma, and she picks Oklahoma. Kind of shocked by that. She says she loves the coach there and wants to play for that coach. It wasn't a shocker because she was seen this weekend in Oklahoma, and she goes and picks it today that Oklahoma is her place to go. So congratulations goes to Oklahoma and the Lady Sooners. She took Kim Mulkey and LSU out a long time ago, which is kind of shocking because Kim Mulkey and her had a pretty good relationship going on. But once again, the number 1 player in the country, Aliyah Chavez, she's from Texas. She's going to Oklahoma to play her college basketball. They said she is going to be a pretty impressive player. Look out for that. All right, when we come back, we got other things to talk about around the state. So other sports to talk about, including the Lady Jags. Impressive. In their big run of the NCAA tournament. We'll talk about that when we come back. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
The 53rd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Louisiana's largest free harvest festival, is just around the corner. And the fun begins on Friday, April the 11th, with a large midway of rides for the whole family. Plus, live music begins at 3:30 p.m. on not one, but 2 big stages. On Friday, Clay Cormier and the Highway Boys, plus the 3rd Street Band and the Rhythm Chasers, just to name a few. On Saturday, April 12th, the Strawberry Festival Parade starts at 9:30 a.m. and it travels right down East Pine Street in Ponchatoula. Then head to Memorial Park for some of the best booths in Louisiana, from seafood, funnel cakes, hamburgers, and of course the juiciest strawberries in the world from local farmers. Live music starts at 11:45 a.m. and don't miss former Idol contestant Lindsay Cordelli at 12 noon on the South Stage. The Dominoes start at 5 p.m. and Thomas Kane at 7:30 p.m. On Sunday, April 12th, it's the Egg Toss Contest from 11 a.m. until 12 noon and the Strawberry Eating Contest from 1:30 to 2:45 p.m. Don't miss the 2025 Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, Friday, April 11th through Sunday, April 13th at Memorial Park in Ponchatoula, Louisiana.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fruget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fruget today.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadia and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs, because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on this day. And a couple of news items to talk about in sports-wise locally. How about the Southern Lady Jaguar basketball team? I told Coach Carlos Funches this. I said that this is the best job you've ever done since you've been here in 7 years. It's his third time that he's won the SWAC tournament. They won it because they had a bad game. Marty, you and I saw that. We saw that last game. It was horrible in that game, that last regular season game for Senior Day. It was bad. They go to the SWAC tournament, and they beat Mississippi Valley State. Then they beat Jackson State, and then they beat, of course, easily beat Alcorn State, which is a team that beat them by 1 point in overtime earlier in that year. So with that, or it was a 4-point win. But anyway, and then after that, they went on to the NCAA tournament and played the University of California in San Diego. And for the first time, not only in Southern, but the first time in SWAC history, the Southern Lady Jaguars won a tournament game. How big was that? And they got to go to the NCAA tournament to play number 1 UCLA. Was only down by 12 points at halftime. So with that, the Lady Jags, great job. I thought they did an outstanding job. They played. Their defense is suffocating like crazy. They will make people go fits and what have you. But I thought the Southern Lady Jaguars had a great year this season. They lose 6 players on their team. It'll be interesting to see what Carlos Funches could do. But Jonathan, this is a recruiting tool now. This is a recruiting tool. They can say, hey, we're the first in the SWAC to ever win an NCAA tournament game. We're the first in the SWAC. Now let's bring in more players so we can get the job done. Not even Jackson State did that. So now Southern men and Southern women are the first and only teams to win tournament games in the SWAC. Pretty impressive with that, Jonathan. Lady Jags did a great job.
Yeah, you got to give a shout out to Coach Funches. Did a great job. Of course, Sanaya Reed was on fire shooting the basketball all tournament. Anaya Gardine got a shout out from Angel Reese on social media. You're wishing her luck. Not that I'm a huge Angel Reese fan, but I thought it was really sweet of her. Really nice to look out for Gardine, who also had a very good tournament. But you can't say enough about, the job that Coach Funches did, managing these girls' personalities, their playing time, uses a lot of subs. But this defense was suffocating. They shot the ball well, moved the basketball well, scored in transition, could absolutely suffocate you in the paint, had size, could run. This was, I think, Coach Funches' best job coaching at Southern that he's done so far. And he's done a great job. He's a very nice man, humble, down to earth, but he gets fired up for his ladies. You certainly saw it on the bench.
Right.
Looking forward to getting that banner hung for that NCAA tournament win. Of course, they obviously deserve it. First one at Syracuse. So very proud just to have a small, very, very small part in the Southern basketball, especially for women. And the men did a great job too, Coach KJ. But very proud and happy for Coach Funches.
Right. And I'll tell you, I'll talk tomorrow night. Us three will be there at TJ Ribs for the overtime show with Southern University. And that's the first time Coach KJ is out. Kevin Johnson has been, nowhere to be found. I said it on the radio when they lost that first round for the sixth time in 6 time in 7 seasons they lost the first round of the SWAC tournament. They're like, you think we're upset? He's more upset.
Yeah.
Coach KJ was really upset, and he's going to get his team going the right way. All right, LSU softball. What off to a great start. And I'm not here to pick on Howard, the former hitting coach, been there a long time. Coach Beth was very close to him and what have you. I got some friends that know him very, very well. But a difference what a year makes. They're 5th in the country in batting average right now. They're hitting .369. Usually what they do in the preseason, they do well. And then when they get to the SEC play and an SEC tournament and NCAA tournament, they can't hit the ball. Right now they're hitting the ball. .369 their batting average. LSU's new hitting coach, he's from Arkansas, is Bryce Neal. And right now he is just doing wonders for the LSU Bats. They're 25 home runs this year, while their pitching has only given up 11 home runs. They're doing really well. Their pitching, by the way, has a 1.86 ERA, so they're on fire with that, while their opponents have an 8.86 ERA. That's pretty impressive. Fielding, they're at .974 percentage. .974, pretty impressive. Jonathan, they're 29-2 overall, and they're 5-1 in the SEC, which is tied for second in the SEC play. They'll be at UL Lafayette tonight, and that's my alma mater. But again, you got to say University of Louisiana Raging Cajuns, but they've changed so many damn times. They were USL when I went to school there. They'll play the Raging Cajuns tonight in Lafayette, and they play South Carolina this weekend. So they're really looking good. The LSU softball team is really looking good right now, Jonathan.
Yeah, you got to give credit to Coach Beth Torina. This team has showed they can win in a lot of different ways. Really rely on defense. Great left-handed pitcher, and having her But when able to hit the long ball, they can hit for average. They move the bases. They play small ball. They can slap. They can run. And they play great defense. And really, that's the recipe to win a lot of games. But I had to think that all this off-season work that they put in with seeing that lefty who does a fantastic job for LSU. Really seeing her all off-season help these hitters tremendously. Really get one of the best lefties in college softball to face on a week-in and week-out basis. While you're getting your legs up on you for the season, while you're honing those defensive techniques. You mentioned the hitting coach. Maybe that has something to do with it. And hitting is all about confidence. All about confidence and timing. It's also contagious. If you have people at the top of the lineup, which LSU does, that get on base a lot, work good at bats, poke the ball where they ain't, it really helps to score runs, set up those RBIs hitters for the middle of the lineup.
No question about that. Southeastern is mourning right now. Ayla Gazzardo has left Southeastern women's basketball. Pretty good basketball coach. She went to Lake Charles for McNeese State, a Southland Conference foe. And Hammond residents are not happy right now. I don't know what happened. Some conferences say, she's from there. Why did she leave? I would seem to think that it's either money or they're not putting enough resources in women's basketball, and she had enough of it, and she went to Lake Charles. The AD made a video welcoming her to Lake Charles. Obviously, they lose Will Wade. They're going to go after a big name, as big as they can, for McNeese there. But they feel they stole one away from Southeastern. They barely missed the NCAA tournament this year because they didn't win the tournament. You got to win the Southland tournament to go into the NCAA tournament. But a lot of people upset in Hammond, Louisiana, that Ayla Gazzardo is gone. She's in Lake Charles now. The Saints have now said they have $30 million in salary cap to get more free agents and also trades coming in. Brandon Cooks is back, by the way. Mm-hmm. The last time he got over 1,000 yards was 2021. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. Running backs miss their power when they get into his age. And by the way, this is going to be his 12th season in the NFL. And wide receivers miss their speed. They're not. I guarantee you, he's not the same Brandon Cooks we had when Drew Brees was here in 2000. What was it? 12.
Yep.
And so unbelievable. They did get a good offensive lineman. He's a good utility lineman, Dylan Randaz, but he's going to be a utility guy, I don't think. He's going to be a starter. 4 years at Tennessee, 31 starts out of 54 games. So he's coming out of that. Also, now tell me this, Jonathan. Would you want to see them sign wide receiver Stephon Diggs? Remember, he was the Minnesota Miracle.
No, stop it right there. Stephon Diggs.
There's word is they're talking to Stephon Diggs.
No, disgusting. Don't
exactly.
I'd rather Cooper Kupp. Go get Cooper Kupp.
You just look like Sean Payton. Jim Moore when you said that. That's disgusting. You look just like Jim Moore when you said that. Yeah. The word is they're talking to Stephon Diggs. Can you imagine that?
Boo
Saints had that one in the bag.
Yeah, boo that man. Boo him.
That's it. Give him bad boo down or bad whatever. 9 picks this year in the draft. The Saints have 9th overall pick in the first round. Be interesting to see. And right now they're doing a big campaign. Both the Saints and the Pelicans have campaigns for tickets next season. The season for the Pelicans hadn't even stopped, and, of course, they're looking horrible. And for the Saints, they've gone up on the season tickets, by the way. I have a lot of people I know, and I don't know about you guys, Jonathan, your family. I know a lot of people I know are trying to have somebody buy half the season or buy their tickets so they don't lose their name in case they get good again. You're dumb if you buy that because they control it. You got to put your name on the list. So, they've gone up a lot of money for those season tickets. Yeah,
and Chris, concessions hasn't gone down either, so you're spending a lot of money at the Saints game. I do like the Justin Reed at safety they brought in the free agency to team him up with the Honey Badger, but said they were trying to build the trenches. Devon Gottschall, good start, hometown kid, but that's not enough. The Saints have to do more, especially on the defensive line.
Yeah, no question about that. Pelicans are a joke. They may get the number 1 pick again in this year's NBA lottery. How many times can we get the number 1 pick and do nothing with it?
Right.
And they don't want to stay here.
Send them to the Lakers.
We'll talk sports, more NCAA tournament, who makes the Final Four in San Antonio. We'll talk about that next week, both for the men and the women in Tampa for the Final Four. Until then, I'm Chris Powers, Jonathan Marty. We'll see you next week right here on Talkin' Sports with Chris Powers.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson hits the